I.Eat.Games, yeah.
Hey Vikings, Mark here, and we're working on our first Animus Anomaly, and it is near RavensThorpe, and it should be your first anomaly. You might have come across another one, but this is most likely your first one, and I really like this puzzle, actually. And it's not entirely because of the puzzle, it's because it kind of reminds me of Mass Effect, and I'll explain that later. I know that sounds really strange. I will explain that later, but when I first saw this, I thought, oh no, this is gonna be like some platforming kind of generic. I mean, look at it. I was like, I don't know if this is gonna be any fun, but you know what? It turned out it's actually, I think it's pretty fun. I think it's pretty cool, and I think it provides just enough challenge, and it's different than all the other Viking stuff and Assassin's Creed stuff that you're doing in the world. It's a nice little break, and it's a lot of fun. So I threw this guide together in case you're stumped. If you're stumped, don't feel bad. I got stumped too. It's not super easy, and it's not super apparent what you're supposed to do up here later on in the puzzle. So I'm going to go ahead and show you what to do in some of these instances where it gets a little difficult. Okay, so let's go ahead and grab this first beam, and we're going to shine this beam, press and hold the Y button. And once you refocus it, it'll make that platform appear. So let's go ahead and parkour our way up here. And this is going to be the second part of the puzzle. This one also could be a little confusing at first. So let's go ahead and grab the beam. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to move it all the way to the right. And we're going to focus the beam on that block, the right block first, so that we can get up there and refocus the beam that's up here too. Now go ahead and go up. Press Y, and we're going to move this beam, and we're going to highlight the beam or the block in the back. So just leave that there, and what that's going to do, it's going to allow us to, it's going to make it tangible. We can go ahead and stabilize the block. Now go back to the original beam, and we're going to refocus it on the left block so we can get up to the other beam. Let's go ahead and run up here. We're going to go up and go ahead and take this beam, and we're going to focus it on that first block there. Now it has made a path for us to go ahead and progress. Now I know it sounds weird about the Mass Effect thing. Tell me what you think of this. I'd like to hear it in the comments, but if you listen to the music, especially later on in the puzzle, and just because of the colors, it totally just makes me feel like, just for half a second, that I'm in like the Mass Effect universe. I know it's weird, but I'm a huge Mass Effect fan, so I loved hearing the music. It almost made me feel like I was like in the Citadel or something. I don't know. I'm probably the only one who thinks this. I'm probably alone here. Anyway, let's go ahead and jump up. This is the first beam we're going to work on. So grab that beam, press the Y button. This is a reflector, but all it's going to do is bounce a beam. It doesn't shoot its own beam. It refocuses or reflects a beam. So go ahead and press Y, and we're going to move this beam to the very top one right there. Okay, so now we need to get the block below it. We need to get that stabilized too. So head over to this beam down on the right. When you turn around, it's on the right down below. Go ahead and run over here and then press the Y button, and we're going to focus it down onto that other block that was not stable. When you're done with that, now we get to go to the beam that's on the right when we first entered, and we're going to press Y on that. Then we get to move it over to the reflector, and the reflector is going to bounce it over to the big beam the first time we did that, and we hopped up on that block. So now we have a clear path, and you should be able to just run and jump and parkour through to the final part of the level. And this is probably the hardest part of the level, understandably. Man, I love this music. I wanted to like boost it up because I just think it's so cool. Okay, so now when we get to the top part, the very first thing we're going to do is jump onto that platform in front of us. Then we're going to head to the left. I mean, it's a little... there's a lot going on here, so if you're feeling overwhelmed, totally fine. Okay, so jump onto this platform. You're going to have a little switch in my video here, but don't get too confused by it. But there's a good look at where we're going to be heading. But remember, first thing, we're going to head left over here, grab this beam, and we're going to move it to that block right there. And I know there's already a beam on it, but that's because we're going to refocus the other beam. So let's head over here, and we're going to go to the center, and we're going to focus that center beam on that block on the very right. I'm pointing this out here because it can be a little confusing and strange because we're moving a beam in the middle of the puzzle. Once you grab this beam, move all the way to the left, and then we're going to focus the beam on that block that I pointed out earlier. Now, just leave that there. And now we're going to run to the end of this, and we're going to go back to the first beam. So we're going to turn right here on our little Mass Effect block, and we're going to move forward and jump and parkour all the way back to the original beam, the first beam that we moved when we were up here. Now take this beam, move it all the way to the left, and move it to that block, that unstable block back there. And so once we've lit it up, now we can run all the way to the end of the puzzle. And I'm telling you, I like these puzzles. I like these Animus fragments or anomalies because I think it adds a little bit of a difference for us and a more variety in the puzzles. And I don't think they've had something like this in the series before. Maybe they haven't. I'm just not remembering. At least not with the beams like this. Anyway, don't forget to like and subscribe, folks. It does help me out quite a bit. Thanks for checking out my video.
I got the data. Sending it now.